I felt and heard my heart racing like in my ears because I thought I was being attacked.
They often go for the heads. They're like trying to like claw at the head. If it wants to get you, it's gonna get you.
It's kind of sad in my mind, and I just hope no kids get this out in their head.
I'm Nina.
And I'm Caroline.
And we're the executive producers of Oasis.
And today we're going on a field assignment that takes us far outside the walls of Bethesda Chevy Chase,
To the Capital Crescent Trail in Bethesda, Maryland.
where we're on the hunt for an aggressive owl terrorizing Bethesda residents.
There have been numerous attacks reported on the trail for the past couple weeks, and we're here today to try to find out what really is going on.
My friend and I had just decided to go for a run. It was nearing dusk, and we had just gotten ready and then decided to actually commit to the run. The attack now is a bit of a blur. I know that I was running alongside my friend, and we were chatting about, our days and everything, and all of a sudden, I feel what I think is a man grabbing my ponytail. So obviously I scream, run to the side. My friend stumbles and follows me to the side.
A couple of weeks ago, I went out running after work. I continued my run, and then suddenly I just felt something in my head. That scared me like crazy, and I just screamed, and I felt, something very sharp, and then I felt it when I screamed, it left. And then I turned around, and I saw the owl in a tree. It landed in a tree up high.
We've reached it. We're about to get into owl territory.
In situations like this, because it's not the first time this has happened, the owl is not trying to eat you.
All right, here we are. This is the second part of the trail. The rumors are that the owl lives somewhere around here. I'm fine. I'm fine.
But most of the time, unfortunately, you don't really see it coming.
Oh! Oh! This is our last resort. Oh! 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 Get that, Jeff. Get that.
Quick thing. Another
Did
one.
we just see one of these?
Are we going in circles?
Oh my god.
Are we?
We're in circles.
Are we going in circles? Oh my god.
We're lost.
Oh no.
Before my attack, I viewed owls the way I think many Americans do, as wise and solitary creatures that don't harm you unless you attack them, but not anymore.
So the barred owl is probably the most common owl that we have around here. They don't mind too much like urban areas as long as they have enough forest.
Yeah, the experience, it's very scary. Very, very scary. I was actually bleeding in the head from that owl attack.
Before this moment, I would run 3 times a week, usually in my gym at home, but this was my first time on the Capital Crescent Trail and my last time.
I would never have thought I'm gonna be attacked from an owl anywhere.
Owl attacks happen occasionally. I'd say they're regular. They're not frequent, but they happen. And again, it's not really an attack. It's so much like a just get out of my space kind of thing. This time of year, they're about to be breeding, so he's probably trying to establish a territory so that he can then have like a mate later in the winter. So he's probably alone right now, but he probably won't be for long.
And guys, do you see that?
I think that's the abandoned park.
Let's go.
If we were to go looking for the owl, how do you think we should go about it?
Well, first thing is timing. You want to go, right at sunset.
If you find the owl, then let him or her know that he should not attack people.
If I could say anything to that owl, I would ask it, how dare you? How dare you attack me? How dare you put me in a state of fear for the rest of my life? I have to live with the knowledge that I can't ever go to the Capital Crescent Trail. And I'm scared to run. I'm scared to run because what if that owl comes back? That's what I would say to that owl. How dare you?
I mean, Nina, it's been like 3 hours and there's no owl. I don't know if it's still worth it. I mean, there's so much life left to live.
No!
It's worth it. What we'll find here will be worth all of this. You guys, come here.
What's happening?
Oh my god.
Oh god.
This is it.
Can you hear that?
Hello and welcome to How to Sound Smart. I'm your host, Stella Green, and today's lesson about displaying and/or faking intelligence is memorize useless information. Because if you know so much about one stupid thing, then think how much you must know about important things. Of course, the answer is usually nothing, but it's all about appearances. To illustrate this concept, today I want to talk about one very specific aspect in the life of a very important man, Emperor Qin of China. Qin Shi Huang was the first emperor of China. He did a lot of very important things, but instead of any of that building an empire stuff, we're going to focus on his life's goal, not ever being not alive ever. Qin had an obsession with immortality. This drove him to do things like build the biggest tomb of any tomb ever, commission an army of 8,000 terracotta warriors, yes, he is that Emperor Qin of China, all right, and sacrifice all kinds of time and manpower and actual men in his search for, get this, the elixir of life. Now you see, Qin was from a time that was big on alchemy, and alchemy, for those of you who don't know, is what passed for chemistry before chemistry was invented. It focuses on the transformation of things into other things, for example, everyday items into gold. The holy grail of alchemy is to somehow create an elixir of life, a potion or pill that grants the user eternal life or eternal youth. And Qin was pretty sure he was the guy to commission the guys to find or create it. Who do you get to make you an elixir of life? Why, your court sorcerer, of course. Qin's was named Zufu, and my understanding is that he was at the top of his field. Now, what, you may ask, goes into an elixir of life? To which I say, I'll tell you. Then you may also ask, did any of them work? To which I say, well, that's a dumb question, because do you know any dead people? Of course they didn't work. But your question about ingredients is fair, and the answer actually contains the answer to your questions of efficacy. There was some debate as to what should go into an elixir of life, but everyone pretty much agreed it should include mercury. Like, a lot of mercury, like pretty much exclusively mercury. Now, I personally could and did and have and will in the future go on about Taoist alchemy indefinitely. But today, we're here to hear a story I titled Emperor Qin and Zufu's Quest for the Elixir of Life. Suspecting that death was really more of a suggestion than a rule, Qin Shi Huang spent far too much time trying to avoid it. The search for immortality is by definition a race against the clock, so time was of the essence. But, oh no, Qin was having a problem. Wouldn't you know it, all the doctors and alchemists he hired to synthesize an elixir of life kept failing and being murdered by him. Things were looking grim, but then inspiration struck. Qin remembered a conversation he had had with the famous and fictitious wizard An Qi Shang. This conversation had lasted 3 days and 3 nights, and Qin was pretty sure he hadn't imagined it. During their chat, the wizard had not only promised the Emperor an elixir of life, but he even invited him to come pick it up from him at his home on Penglai Mountain. Penglai Mountain was, like the wizard who inhabited it, not real. In Chinese mythology, Penglai Mountain is said to be essentially paradise. It sounds great, but unfortunately, it is very, very imaginary. Never one to be daunted by or to understand reality, Qin decided it was time to head over to Penglai Mountain and pick up his elixir. He also decided that the best man for the job was his court sorcerer Xu Fu. But Xu Fu wouldn't be going alone, no. The Emperor sent with him, for reasons that I just can't find anywhere, several thousand boys and girls, not men and women, mind you, just boys and girls of unspecified ages. The expedition was a lengthy one. Penglai Mountain was proving elusive, as imaginary things are wont to do, but no one really wanted to go back to the Emperor and tell him that as things now stood, he was going to die someday. Luckily, they thought of an excuse that might keep Qin from executing any of them. The expedition of intrepid children and one sorcerer allowed a few years to pass before they came back with this little gem. There is a huge fish in the sea, so our ships can't reach Penglai Hill. Airtight. Shocker, this was a lie. But Qin to the rescue anyways. To his mind, a big fish seemed like a valid excuse for coming back late and empty-handed. And then, reminding me very much of an ancient Chinese Don Quixote, he went out armed to the teeth with bows plural and arrows and killed some big fish he found. With their excuse fish arrowed to death, Xu Fu and company were forced to head back out. On their second try, they again found no mythological mountains, but, depending on who you ask, they may or may not have found Japan, where they either settled or never returned to again. But who cares, because it's not like those are opposites. That concludes this episode of How to Sound Smart. Remember, memorize useless information so as to trick others into thinking you're better informed than you actually are. I've done my part by getting you your brain garbage, now go and share it with your friends. Once again, I am Stella Green, and this has been How to Sound Smart.
One person, I think it would be nice today to give thanks to Ms. Mertens and her family for making such a wonderful dinner and for inviting us to her house.
It's my favorite tradition at our school. It gives the students who are new to this culture, it's their first Thanksgiving, so it's very traditional. We cook traditional foods. We sit and eat together and converse, and the students help prepare the meal, they help serve the meal.
I don't know a lot of things about Thanksgiving, but I know they are eating turkey, and I know that's delicious.
Sí, yo pienso que es algo positivo porque mantiene la cultura estadounidense y reúne a las familias cuando celebran el Día de Gracias.
Sí, la misma opinión de ella. Es como para compartir en familia y apoyarse entre uno y dar gracias por las acciones que hemos tenido.
Mrs. Mertens is a wonderful lady who hosts the Thanksgiving dinner, so it's at her house. She does a lot of the cooking and preparation ahead of time, and then the students come over and they really do help. They cook, they do everything.
My mom does this completely out of pocket, and she does it for these students because this is ESOL 1 and 2, so it's their first year in America. And she always looks forward to this day where we have everyone come over and experience what Thanksgiving's all about, which is being around people, the people you love, and being around good food and conversation.
Today, I had the pleasure of learning what a microaggression is. To all those ignorant of this new terminology, it is an aggression, but tiny, or in more scientific terms, micro. As a man of 5 foot 3 inches, I am extremely offended. The term microaggression implies that all those who have been genetically granted a brief stature are in some aspect more aggressive, more explosive, more combative. For instance, the other day a man shoved past me, to which I responded in a fully appropriate manner with the common expression, "Hey, I'm walking here." This was labeled a microaggression. And why? Because I'm short. Although, after much rumination upon the topic, I discerned that my height of 5 foot 3 inches was not causing this wave of microaggression, but rather this was a consequence of those who are even shorter, even more brief than me, the little people. They're always up to something. I immediately buttoned my sock garters and proceeded to my neighbor, Jeffrey, who happens to be a vat persuasion of altitude. Jeffrey, what are these microaggressions I hear of? Are you responsible for this? The response I received was less of the verbal variant and more physical, as I received blow after blow. This was a microaggression. I pointed a guilty finger and then sped off to my place of residence. I proceeded to take a seat in my thinking chair and ask my mother to prepare for me a cup of tea so that my wounds would be healed. Get your own tea, she tells me. Another microaggression, another useless microaggression. But I think, and think do I must go shorter. Babies, infants, these are the sinners. I march myself into the closest nursery and with full force break open the hermetically sealed door. Like Judge Claude Frollo, I stand before these heathens. Sinners, who's responsible for these microaggressions? Show yourself. They began to cry crocodile tears. You all have the guilt upon your hands, you wretched microaggressors. I was escorted out of the building by some accomplices in injustice. Into the dusty laboratory I enter. I slam open the cabinet door before my eyes. The microscope lays before my eyes. Mother, get me the dye. I begin to prep my slides. Slide 1, zoom times 50. Zoom times 1,000, nothing. Slide 2, zoom times 50. Zoom times 1,000, nothing. I returned to my thinking chair and broke down. I'm a man of justice. I must find these microaggressors. The balance of the world must be returned.